so.
We're rolling.
Well, hello again, everyone. My name is John Goddard. I'm a parishioner here at Sacred Heart, and we're turning the tables for the second week on Father Ron. He's going to be interviewed once again, and we're going to learn more about his art career. If you recall, last week we talked about how he learned he was an artist and how he's developed this creative voice. And this week we're going to learn about a very important project that he's received a commission to do for Liturgical Press. Father Ron, would you tell us about that?
Well, thank you so much, John. I really appreciate you being here as well. And in February of this year, before COVID, I received a phone call from a friend of mine who's an editor at Liturgical Press. And he asked me if I would consider doing the illustrations to a set of Stations of the Cross that were written by Father Paul Turner in Kansas City. And the point of the stations is to have a prayer experience of atonement for the sexual abuse issues in the church. And I was immediately captivated by this project, and because I feel so strongly about the abuse issues from clergy. And my first thought was to, if two priests could help heal this, with Father Paul, who was the author of this, and myself, that would have been really good. So I went into a long conversation with a couple of editors at Liturgical Press, and I kept saying to them, I don't think I'm the right guy, because I know what Liturgical Press does. They come from a monastic community, a Benedictine community. Their art is very traditional, and mine is not. And so the two editors who were talking to me at the time, the boss is 28 years old, and the editor, my friend, is 31. So they kept saying to me, well, we are young people, and if we don't do something about this issue, nobody will. So I said, okay. So off I went, and I got my supplies, and here was the basis of what I thought. I thought, if I can use paint on my fingers to help heal the abuse of our children at the hands of clergy, I would do that. That was the foundation of what I was trying to get at. So I got the supplies, came here in this room. Now this was just about a week or two before COVID. And I was just kind of playing around, and I thought, I just needed to play before I got into the real thing. And then I realized one thing. I realized I was trying to control the images that were produced. And the problem with the abuse issues in the church is that the church has tried to control the outcome. So I stood in front of the very first canvas, and I just, with my hands, with a brush, with a rag, I just put color on a canvas, just at random. And I sat back, and all of a sudden, I began to see the eyes of Jesus emerge from the chaos in a place where I would not have expected it to be. So I said, what the heck? So I started, grabbing a hold of those eyes and bringing them forward and creating something. And the first time I saw the eyes emerge, I stood in front of the canvas and I just wept, because I realized that the chaos has to be there in order for the healing to emerge. The chaos in these Stations of the Cross are part of the story. The chaos cannot be wiped away or erased or colored over. The chaos is one of the main events in the 14 stations. So I just want to show you real quick. This was the very first station. and out of the 14. And this was the first time that I saw the eyes of Jesus emerge from the chaos. This is not the face that I would have chosen, and it was not the face that I thought they would accept. But nevertheless, I started with this, and of course, this is the agony in the garden, in which Jesus accepts the cup of suffering. And also where the disciples, as you can see by the eyes here, are falling asleep. They're leaving him. Well, in this case, these eyes are also the eyes of the abuser. So behind, in the dark, peering into how the abuse is going to happen in the first place. So I just went with it, and so this was the result. After a couple of these, I realized too that the children need to be more present in these stations. So I put a handprint here on the first one as a way of saying that the child and the child in all of us are reaching out into the mystery of the healing power of Jesus. It's the touch. It's that action of those who have been abused, but the action of the church itself to reach out to the power of love and healing and grace and mercy. So the hand of the child is the hand of us all in all the ways in which we are aching for something greater than our own lives. So this is the first one. I'd like to, just for a second, to talk about, this is the seventh station, and this is Jesus taking up the cross. Now this just happens to be the cover of the book, of the Stations of the Cross. So here, again, in all of the chaos, Jesus receives the cross. Now, the eyes in this one too emerged at this point in the canvas. So I just went with it. I just said, okay, that's where the eyes are. That's where the healing is coming through. So you see here, he takes up the cross. The handprint of the child is there, also realizing the cross itself and in some ways reverencing the gift that the Christ has chosen to pick up the cross even for the child. And here, as I had not really, I never thought about this until afterwards, but it really is, picking up the cross is almost a drowning. It's almost the beginning of our baptism, in which Christ too drowned to himself in order to rise again. So even with all the chaos in here, it is like a drowning. It is like a ways in which the waters of baptism are going to be renewed in us. So this is the cover of the book. And there are a couple others I want to show you real quick. This is Jesus on the cross, and so his death on the cross. And of course in this one, notice that he doesn't have hands, and the hands, of course, are from the children. So that all of the colors of the hands represent the backgrounds and the social network and the races, the different races of people. I tried my best to create the hands that are not skin colors, and so that they appeal to everybody. Now here, there is also no cross shape, but the cross here in his heart reveals I don't know if you can see that on tape or not, but reveals the crucifixion. I did not paint that. It was just emerged. It was there. I just painted around it. And so here, the crucified in us is from the inside out. It is not an external reality. The healing and justice and mercy and redemption comes from the inside out. So, and this is from it is the 13th station. And so that was a great example, I think, of how things just emerged. They just emerged. And then this is the 14th station, in which the burial of Jesus. And I used the hands of the children, and again, I don't know how much you can see in this, but the various colored hands are taking the body of Christ down from the cross and then burying him, so that our place in the Paschal mystery, our place in his passion, death, and resurrection is there. The hands, the hearts, the lives of those who have been abused are part of his story and our story. And this right now is the redemptive life of the church. So this is another example of how the children are involved in the death and rising of Christ, but also that Christ is involved in our suffering. So those are a couple of examples. The book will be published in December. We'll put a link underneath this about how you can get one.
And one quick question for you. I think most of the monks in Collegeville are elderly senior priests.
Mm-hmm.
How did they react to this type of art?
Well, I don't think they appreciated it very much at first, but with the gift of this young editor, we have tried to promote this as well as the editors also, because there are scriptural quotes in here, it needs to be approved by the Bishops' Committee in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And the woman who approves this book and the print and what it is said that the art was stunning, and she had never seen anything like it, and she hopes that the bishops will pray this Stations of the Cross when they're together, either in November or April in their meetings. So it's gotten great reviews beyond Collegeville. So I hope it will be part of the healing process that we all long for from the issues that surround the clergy abuse.
Thanks so much for sharing these deepest parts of your heart with us, Father Ron, and how you're able to express them.
Thank you so much,
I think
John.
it's been really an invaluable experience for all of us. So not only great pastor, wonderful priest, but fantastic artist. So that's it for today. I think we'll be back to the usual interviewer next week, but let me offer peace and mercy to you and your family for this week. God bless.